have a title to be decided. It is on the line at the Ricardo Tormo circuit just outside Valencia in Spain. Max Quiles looking to become the first double champion in the class, but he's going to have to fend off Brian Uriarte if he's to do that. This is the only championship that is still to be decided, and this is the only race of this class this weekend. 4 kilometers in length. The Ricardo Tormo circuit's always a classic venue to confirm the season, to lock it out, to complete it. 16 laps between now and the checkered flag of 2023. European Talent Cup action, and as always, it comes to the final race of this season. The last one, the last hurrah, the showdown, whatever you want to call it, the points are the same. It is a head-to-head fight between Max Quiles for the Aspar junior team and for Brian Uriarte in the Team Estrella Galicia 00 outfit. Guido Pini is your defending champion, and he will use the number 1 for the final time in 2023 this weekend, but he cannot defend it for 2024. Pini not able to take the title. He is mathematically out of contention after last time. Kiko Giles and Steve English bringing you the action here, live trackside in the circuit Ricardo Tormo in Valencia. History everywhere you look. We'll get to that shortly. This is what happened last time out at Aragon. It was a double billing, and Max Quiles from pole position was by far and away the rider to beat. Even though we had plenty of drama elsewhere and we had riders taking long laps, Quiles just still came out on top, and he was absolutely pushed to the limit in both races. He won by half a second in one of them. It was 1.5 in another. Quiles on fire. It was a bit of a battle in the second race, although in the closing stages again Quiles just moved on through. He broke clear right when it mattered. Guido Pini, Ruche Moodley of course not in the class this weekend. He was right in contention. So Quiles, there was a collision behind him with Pini and Uriarte, but Quiles doubling up at Aragon to put one hand on the 2023 European Talent Cup trophy. And now these are live pictures trackside here. Partly cloudy, it's about what it is. The circuit Ricardo Tormo here in Valencia. We have had nothing but wind since we arrived here Thursday afternoon. It has been so windy. It's calmed down today, and thank goodness for that. We had red flags, we've had sessions cancelled. In fact, we had no running on Thursday and Friday at all. Saturday really was a day of discovery. But now we're at the business end of the season. We're at the business end of the weekend. One race to decide it all. It's Max Quiles or it's Brian Uriarte. Steve English alongside me. Steve, it has been these two guys for the last 3 seasons, more or less. This rivalry is a long one, even at this early stage in their careers, and it's only fitting and perhaps correct that we go and check out what they're going to be doing later on. Let's come to that in a moment. This is what happened in qualifying. It's a first pole for Jesus Rios.
Bueno, pues la verdad que ha sido muy difícil. Desde un principio hemos estado en la pole, hemos hecho una muy buena vuelta con un 41.7 si no me equivoco, y después hemos estado todos en grupo. Y ha sido muy complicado porque todo el mundo quería hacer la pole, como es normal en esta categoría. Todo el mundo quería clasificar bien y nos hemos metido en un grupo así grande. He intentado aprovechar lo máximo los rebufos y adelantando a un montón de gente. He logrado hacer la pole, una pole muy difícil, muy trabajada, y nada, pues para mañana intentaremos ganar la carrera.
That was Jesus Rios and the MRE Talent Machine, and that team will go from a first pole position, but it is all about Steve English. The battle for the title, Quiles versus Uriarte. It's looking like it's going to go Quiles' way. Who's it going to be?
And Quiles, because he's got a very commanding lead. We know he's got that experience to be at the front, so he is the rider to beat. He's up in the front row of the grid as well.
This is your pole man for the first time in his career. 2 career first podiums last time out, 3rd and 2nd at Aragon. He goes from pole. Can Jesus Rios complete that sequence and make it 3-2-1 to end 2023 on a high?
He had a top 5 here in Valencia at the start of the year, so he's going to give himself another opportunity to be able to come away with podiums in today's races as well. He's been strong all the way through the weekend with the limited running, and you'd have to say that the 54 has been impressive.
Second place on the grid should be the number 1 of Guido Pini, who was denied a first pole position. Once more, Pini not able to get on that, the ultimate front row position, but he does go from the middle of it. As you can see on your screen, your 2 title contenders right in shot. Quiles on the left, the number 28, and the number 51 of Brian Uriarte. The points gap is 18. That means that a top 9 for Quiles, regardless of what Uriarte does, will be enough, because Quiles will win it by virtue of countback if it goes to a tiebreaker. Second place for Guido Pini on the grid. He won the title against Joel Esteban in Valencia in 2022, but this year that number 1 plate will be moving. That is already confirmed.
Yeah, he's only 15, so another year in ETC next season. But for Pini, this season he's also raced in the Red Bull Rookies Cup, 2 podiums this year, including one at home in Mugello. So it's been a decent campaign for him, but obviously after the highs of last year, it's always one of those situations where just being up there third in the championship, it's not the same for him this year. It's been a little bit less than he would have expected, even though it's been a good, solid season.
Having said that, Maximo Quiles is one of the riders who relinquished the crown and is looking at getting it back. So Pini can take faith from that. But look at this season so far. 5 wins, 7 podiums for Max Quiles. He's looking to become the first rider to make it 2 titles in the class, and he's looking odds on to do it.
Yeah, throw into the mix a couple of race victories in the rookies, 6 podiums in rookies as well. He's finished 3rd in the Rookies Cup last year and this year, and it just shows you just how complete a rider he is. He'll probably double job again next year, but he'll certainly be hoping to add a Rookies Championship to his ETC title from a couple of years ago.
Valentin Peroni, a bit of a revelation back at Aragon, and then he had to start from the back of the grid due to a penalty. The 15-year-old from Barcelona here in Spain does take Argentinian nationality. He's looking good, and he is right on the front of this grid. 4th and ahead of row 2. He is going to be a bit of a firecracker in terms of this race. Dodo Boggio, 5th place, the 16-year-old. He's won already, but that is his only podium of the year. He has been Mr. 4th place. Steve, this is going to be an important race for Dodo. He's going to try and help his teammate if it comes down to it.
Yeah, he had a couple of race wins last year and 4 podiums last year as well. So we know what Dodo can do at the front of the field, but it gets tougher and tougher to stay at the front of the field in the ETC as you get older and a little bit bigger. But obviously the age limits now, it is a case of riders staying in this class a little bit longer than in the past.
This is the only rider that can deny a 2nd title to Max Quiles. 3 wins for Brian Uriarte this year, but he is 18 points adrift. 18 points adrift in the championship and directly behind his main title rival on the track, Uriarte, the 14-year-old from Santander in Spain, looking to try and stop Quiles, the number 28, from making it 2. 7th place, Adriano Donoso heads up the 3rd row. Donoso, 2 top 10 finishes. 6th place being his best result. That was here in Spain and matched last time here in Spain in Valencia, and matched last time out at Aragon. What can he do?
Yeah, I think from that 3rd row of the grid, it's about giving yourself the opportunity to make a good start and then just keep yourself in contention. The ETC is always one of those series where riders can give themselves an opportunity of being able to make a step from being a top 10 runner to a top 6 runner to then suddenly getting themselves onto the podium as well. It's just about having that little bit of consistency when you need it, but most importantly, the confidence at the end of the races.
You saw David Alonso there just giving some final words of advice to Max Quiles. This is in 8th place, Rico Salmela, 2nd at Estoril, 3rd in Valencia. No podium since earlier on in the year in Valencia. Still looking to try and become the first Finnish rider to win a European Talent Cup race.
Yeah, behind Torres on the grid as well. Torres has been able to get himself up inside the top 10 a few times this season. So for Rico, it's a case of just trying to build on what he's been able to do in the past. He's been very strong here in Valencia, 2 top 4 finishes last year.
This is 9th place for Guillaume Plonk, the 16-year-old plonking himself on the 3rd row of the grid and looking to try and get ahead into that top 6. It's been his best season already with a race to spare. We have seen big steps from Plonk this season.
Yeah, and his brother Gavin as well, racing in the JuniorGP class, so you'd certainly expect that that's going to be the progression he'll be aiming for in the next couple of years as well.
Malaysian star Hakim Danish going from the head of the 4th row. 2023 has been disappointing. P3 is his only podium and top 10 of the whole season. So Danish, work to do from that 4th row.
You would have expected more after 2 podiums last season, but it just hasn't really worked out for the number 13. He needs to have a good end to the season here at the final race. If he's able to come away with a top 10, obviously Kiko, it goes against the grain of what we've seen from this season, but top 10, top 5, that will be the aim. It's up to him to be able to do it.
7 of Benyat Fernandez. He had a big crash actually back in Aragon. Thankfully he was okay. Fernandez only point in 2022 came in Valencia. 3 top 10 finishes in 2023. The grid is clearing. We're going to be ready to go. Just some other riders to watch. Keep an eye on Leonardo Zani. Keep an eye on Pau Alsina, who's coming from the back. David Gonzalez as well. Vasilis Panteliakis, the Greek rider, is coming of form, as well as Marco Morelli. But your pole man is Jesus Rios. 3rd, 2nd in his last 2 races. Will he complete the sequence in Valencia? The title deciding race in the European Talent Cup. Race 11 of 11. Jesus Rios on a career first pole ahead of outgoing champion Guido Pini. Championship leader, champion-elect Max Quiles ahead in 3rd place. His main title rival, Brian Uriarte, starting directly behind him in 6th. Also on that 2nd row, Valentin Peroni. Keep an eye out from him. The 5th row features some big names. Leonardo Zani, as I say. Emmanuel Brinton, the young British rider, in 14th place. And 15th for David Gonzalez. Right the way through the field, there are riders to watch. Jesus Torres, the 22, has a back of the grid start, but so do a lot of riders. And because he is the highest placed of those, he gets the penalty first. So he will go from the middle of row 8. All the way through, Tony Lorenz, Luciano, 28th there. He crashed out of what could have been a podium last time out at Aragon. Kiko Giles and Steve English live trackside here in the commentary box, ready to bring you all the action from this race. This is the showdown of 2023. This is our only championship that we still have yet to be decided. It is between Max Quiles and Brian Uriarte. They have been massive rivals since 2021, perhaps even before that when they've been coming through the ranks. But here in Junior GP, these are the 2 rivals, and it's almost fitting that this season, Steve, comes down to these 2. There will be spoilers, Jesus Rios, Guido Pini, but it is the big headline. It is Quiles versus Uriarte.
Yeah, there's not really anything to choose between those 2 riders in terms of what they've been able to do in the European Talent Cup over the years. A couple of extra race victories for Max Quiles, but only 1 extra podium. So they've been able to show over the last 3 years, they've got that consistency, they've got that speed, they've got that ability. They are the riders that are worth keeping an eye on in the ETC. And the ETC is the first step towards the road to MotoGP. It's where we see a lot of the riders come through over the course of the last few years and really establish themselves, move to Junior GP and then on to the World Championship. Uriarte on the 51 machine, you can see there just heading down towards turn 1 on the siding lap, and then also Max Quiles. And for Quiles, we've been able to see just how good of a rider he is over the last few years. He's finished 3rd in the Red Bull Rookies Cup the last 2 years. He's already an ETC champion. He wants to pick up a 2nd championship in it, but for him, he's the rider with it all to lose. He's got an 18 points advantage. He's got the countback guaranteed. He's already won 5 races. Uriarte can only win 4. So the countback is all in his favour. He just needs 7 points. But we've never really seen it from Max Quiles that all he wants to do is just get across the line to be able to pick up a title, pick up a European Talent Cup. He wants to win races. He wants to win in style. He wants to get the job done. So he's going to be the guy to keep an eye on, because he'll want to really stamp his authority on the ETC. Make everyone know that he's the best rider we've seen in this class.
And of course, if he does, then he is the first rider with 2 titles in this class. And he's still so young, Max Quiles. He's so young, he's so fresh, and with a massive future ahead of him. We see so often, Steve, particularly here in Valencia, the last lap battles, they really do go down to the last corner. We've already had it today in Junior GP. We won't make any spoilers, of course, but this is a track that does lend itself to these smaller bikes. Having said that, we see big groups, and it's them big groups that, for the likes of Quiles, it doesn't have to be his own accident that he's caught up in. It doesn't have to be his own incident. It could be someone else with their own point to prove coming through the field.
Well, that is always the danger in a class like this, because identical machinery for everyone. It is down to you to keep yourself out of trouble. But for Quiles, he's been able to do that for the last 3 years, really. So we'll expect to see more of the same from him in this one. You can see the number 28 just making his way to the grid. That is Quiles. So keep an eye out for him right from the get-go. He's on the front row of the grid. He's our championship leader. He's the guy trying to wrap up a second European Talent Cup.
Predictions ahead of this one?
Quiles to win the championship, because he's got that big advantage. He's 18 points clear. It's all in his hands. But for Brian Uriarte on the 51 machine from that second row of the grid, he's got nothing to lose. He's going to go out here and try and win this race.
Don't forget as well, Jesus Rios going from pole position, as I said in the build-up. Third at Aragon Race 1, second in Race 2. He's looking to make it 3-2-1 to finish the year. 3-2-1, and we will be lights on and soon lights out for the final time in 2023. It's a good start. That's from the middle of the front row. Even better one from the inside of the front row. Quiles has come through from third. He's already into the lead. He's going to have the whole shot, weaving and jockeying for position further back. That was Rico Salmella, but coming through into turn 1 ahead of everybody else. It is Max Quiles ahead of Guido Pini. Jesus Rios diving to the inside, and that's the 73 of Valentin Peroni as well, holding position in fourth. So far, everybody safely through, and it's Quiles who has clear track ahead of him.
Yeah, clear track for Quiles, and Brian Uriarte in P5. He's got all the work to do to be able to try and come through and give his championship rival something to think about. But we know what Max Quiles can do when he hits the front. He tries to open up that gap. He tries to take advantage of his speed. He's going to try and do that now.
Quiles it is who leads onto this back straight through on the exit of turn 6. There's the kink of turn 7, then it's turn 8. Rios in second place, Pini third ahead of Perone in fourth position, whilst in fifth place, I'm not quite sure who that was. Is it Poggio? No, it's Uriarte.
Uriarte. We saw though from the 73 machine of Peroni that he got through into P3 on Guidi Pini and wasn't able to make the move stick. So immediately from the get-go though, he set a stall out. He wants that podium. He wants to give himself something to cheer about at the end of this season.
Peroni, we have not seen anything of him all season, but he came alive at Aragon. He really did step it up a gear. He's been a revelation since then. The last 2 rounds of 2023 have been absolutely phenomenal from the Argentinian, but he's going to have his work cut out if he's to maintain podium pace in this one. Quiles it is who leads as they come to the end of lap 1. 15 laps still ahead of us. Jesus Rios, your pole man, is in second place. Dodo Poggio was using all the track and more than around the outside of Brian Uriarte. We said in the build-up he's going to try and help his teammate Max Quiles at the front if need be, but Uriarte holds serve and holds position. Guido Pini does not for third place. He's back to fourth as Peroni comes on through.
Yeah, Max doesn't need help, but he'll take it if it's on offer. And for Max Quiles on the 28 machine at the front of the field, very solid opening lap. Made a great start from the outside the front row of the grid and was able just to lead comfortably before we even got to turn 1. So a super start from Quiles, and did exactly what he has to do. From the second row of the grid, Brian Uriarte on the 51 machine, second in the European Talent Cup. He's not done enough on the opening lap to put that pressure onto Max Quiles, but there's enough riders there at the front that Quiles doesn't have that breathing room just yet.
Quiles as well, back earlier on in the season as Peroni looks on the inside and gets second. So Peroni third, the Argentinian rider, up into... Oh, no, he didn't. He looked like he had second. He must have gone wide then. So back in second goes Rios. But Quiles, I was just about to say, had that back at a good start here earlier in the year. And oh, big crash. Was that
Uriarte that went
Uriarte? Or
no,
was it
wasn't.
Poggio? It must have been Poggio. I think Poggio was gone. Oh, dearie me. Uriarte, that was almost the championship done, but it was Poggio who went down. There he is, thankfully up on his feet.
Yeah, we saw the flash of the raid, and luckily for our title contender, it wasn't Brian Uriarte, but shame for Dodo Poggio to finish the season like this on the Aspar machine, and you're just going to see he just took the front. It's easy to do that into that corner. We didn't quite catch it on the shot, but into there you're trail braking all the way in, and you're just trying to put more and more pressure on the front, and it's easy just to ask a little bit too much of it, particularly considering we've had so little running so far this weekend. It's windy conditions. It makes it difficult for the riders out there.
The main thing is Poggio is up on his feet, but it's not how we wanted to end 2023. Of course, this is the only race of the day for ETC. I was just about to say I'll finally get to the point as Uriarte comes through into fourth place. Quiles pulled off the biggest comeback in European Talent Cup history earlier on in the year. He was in 27th on the grid, and he came through to win by about 8 seconds. So Quiles knows his way around here, and he can pull the pin if he wants to.
We saw Rico Salmela just set a new fastest lap of the race there on the number 27 machine. Salmela is always a rider worth keeping an eye on in the ETC. All the way through this season, he's been inside the top 8 at the end of the races. The only exception was a retirement in Catalonia, where he retired from a top 8 position as well. So he's consistently been able to keep himself in those leading positions, which is really tough to do in the European Talent Cup. And now it's all about trying to give himself that foundation going into next season as well, that he's able to build into that 3rd year in the ETC.
Quiles still leading out front ahead of Rios, so your pole sitter in 2nd place, ahead of Pini in 3rd. 4th now, Uriarte, and his wingman in Salmela is up there in 5th, ahead of Peroni, the Argentinian rider, in 6th. And we've got a breakaway. Oh, big moment for Pini there on the curbs. Just got that a little bit lit up. He won't want that too many times. We're only on lap 3, so be careful, Guido. Up the inside comes Uriarte, capitalising on that. Lots of chatter down into that final corner, but gets it pulled down. Uriarte and Pini side by side. Pini got the better run there off that turn 14, so they're going to go down the straight. Both of them providing a big hole in the air for Rico Salmela, who's going to breeze on by. Salmela 5th to 3rd. Job done. Turn 1. Uriarte 4th. Pini, the big loser in all of that, 3rd to 5th.
What's interesting is last time around, Brian Uriarte actually set the fastest lap of the race, and he still gets overtaken by his teammate Rico Salmela as well. So those two bikes, they're working well at this stage, and for Uriarte on the 51, it's no harm just to follow your teammate and see if you're able to make that progress.
Salmela's got good pace, and we've seen that plenty of times throughout 2023 and actually in previous seasons. Salmela's been unlucky come the end of the races, it seems, and he's just not maybe as willing as his rivals to get his elbows out, and that obviously highlights something big in the European Talent Cup, where it is all about, in those closing stages, getting your elbows out. We have a breakaway group of 7, and in 7th place is the 24th Guillaume Plonk, so Plonk has latched onto the back of this group so far. That would be a fantastic result to end the season on. 2nd place has just gone to Salmela. He's ahead of Jesus Rios now, and Uriarte, his teammate, is going to be wanting to come through for sure. Salmela keen to hit the front as Jorge Martinez Aspar, team boss of the Aspar Juniors team, watches on. He's been here many times before. He's seen his the next generation crowned through the years. He will still be feeling the nerves, I'm sure, at this stage, Steve.
Yeah, I think for Aspar as a team, it's been really good to be able to get a rider like Max Quiles on board, because we've been able to see that team obviously develop riders through the ETC, into JuniorGP, into the Moto 3 World Championship. And Max Quiles is certainly a rider that they've got that marked out for the future as well. And for Aspar, we've seen it time and again just how good of a job they do. This is their chance to win another championship, and they're trying to make sure that they're able to do it in style, and that's what Max Quiles has always pretty much said, that's the goal, try and win the European Talent Cup, but you want to win it from the front as well.
Yeah, you want to win it from the front when you're in control. I mean, it's so important to get your grid position banked and get a good lap set in for a good qualifying place. And if you control as many variables as possible, which is Jesus Rios is not one of them, coming through at turn 5, Rios diving to the inside, and that's the lead at turn 5 for Rios. But Quiles still puts himself in the fast group, in the main group. He's controlling the variables of which he can, and actually he could finish at the back of this group if he wanted, and he's got the title back with a few points to spare.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how he tries to control the race, which also gives a good indication of how Aspar have tried to prepare him for the race. Well, we saw his pit board come out, a leading group of 7. He knows that's enough to be able to win the European Talent Cup. They've got a massive margin already in hand over P8, which is, it looked like it was David Gonzalez there a couple of seconds back. So there's a big margin there for him to be able to play with. But he also wants to play with his opponents. He wants to play at the front of the field and give himself a chance of a race victory.
He likes a battle, does Max Quiles, and he won't need to invite one. His main title rival is now right behind him. So Brian Uriarte, is he looking for the way through? He's looking, he's not executing. Uriarte 3rd then for the moment. He's right behind Quiles. Salmela 4th, 5th place for Pini, Peroni, and 7th for Plonk. So your top 7 still all together. Jesus Rios going down the outside there, trying to maintain track position, but breezing on by. The 28 of Quiles just knows where and when to attack the opposition. He's back ahead. There was a mechanical problem back in the back of shot for one of the other riders. Not quite sure who it was. It was Emmanuel Brinton. Yes, it is. Here we are, the number 43, Emmanuel Brinton. So he pulled up on the exit of turn 14. We saw in the back of shot his race and his 2023 season done. That's a great shame.
Yeah, teammate there to title contender Brian Uriarte and then Rico Salmela up there as well. You can see for Max Quiles a big long look over the shoulder there to be able to see what the group's like, what the gap's like to the group behind as well. So he already knows how this race can play out in his favour. Interestingly for Quiles though, he's a rider that obviously going into next season, he's going to be someone worth keeping an eye on, whether it's in the Red Bull Rookies Cup trying to win his first Rookies Cup or who he's going to be up against as well, because the likes of Rico Salmela, very competitive in Rookies Cup this year, hasn't quite really translated to where he would have wanted in the European Talent Cup, but this is one last chance to be able to come away with a podium, to be able to challenge for a race win. So for the 27 of Salmela, he wants to get in there, he wants to get the elbows out, he wants to scrap it out as well, and you can see at this stage Quiles on the 28, overtaken by Brian Uriarte, but not immediately trying to attack back.
No, and there's laps to go yet. There's still 11 left on the clock. Uriarte takes the wide sweeping line in. Quiles takes the more direct route to the apex. Uriarte will have the pace down the straight, but there's nothing wrong with Rios. And actually, I was about to say Rios at turn 5, looking very, very strong. Much stronger than the likes of Quiles. We'll see how he is against Uriarte if it comes to it. Quiles is going to try and get through. Is he? Not this time. Uriarte is. Uriarte moves through into the lead, but he's going to go wide. You've seen that so many times at this track. He goes out onto the green as well. Far from ideal, and Rios holds position. Second place, moving back through, is Quiles, and third for Uriarte now. Now let's see, with Rios out front in the middle part of this lap, the twisty part of this track, if he's able to put any time and distance in. He's so far done so, but it's very early yet.
Yeah, and at the front of the field for Rios, number 54, our pole sitter, so we know he's had speed this weekend. He's trying to open that gap. As long as Uriarte and Quiles keep fighting with each other, they'll give an opportunity to Rios to open that gap.
Quiles looks slightly vulnerable at turn 5. We've seen him pass twice there by Rios, now by Uriarte. Is that just a different line, or is he just generally struggling for a little bit of performance there?
He's left himself vulnerable through there, and it is possible through 5 to leave yourself a little bit open for attack. He also has no real reason to try and defend too rigorously. He just needs to finish at the back of this group to be able to wrap up the title.
Oh, doesn't need to defend, but he can attack as he likes. So Quiles, I thought he was doing 2 in 1 there, but not this time. He's back into third place ahead of Salmela. But look at Jesus Rios. He's absolutely pulling the pin here, and he's got about, I make that probably half a second at least over the opposition here.
What's interesting about that with Quiles though is he doesn't have to defend the position too vigorously, but if you're able to put your bike down the inside, you're the one that's then dictating things. It's actually quite safe for him to do that because it's up against his rivals. Are they going to really run the risk of rubbing it against him and having a crash? He's just putting his bike where it needs to be. Good, clever riding from Quiles.
We've seen it before. That's what helped him to the 2021 title. It's what helped him to numerous race wins. It's what's helped him into the lead of this championship this year. Clever racecraft is just half of that final result, although he's out wide there at turn 1. Through comes Salmela and Oh! That's it! Uriarte and Salmela. We have seen it so many times where teammates have collided. Oh, and he's gone down for a second time. He slipped trying to pick the bike up. Brian Uriarte, the title race is all done. It's on the floor. It wasn't Quiles and Uriarte. Quiles is fine. Quiles is in second. Quiles could stroke it home from here with 9 laps to go. But we saw it earlier in the year at this track with Almanza and Marcos Ruda. We have seen it at other venues. Last time out with Joel Esteban and Jacob Ralston. Teammates, friendly fire has left them in the gravel trap. And there you can see Brian Uriarte not happy. Steve, talk us through it.
Well, you can see here from Rico Salmela, he's down the inside on it, and at the end of the day, Uriarte tries to get back down the inside, and he's the one that makes contact there with Rico. Rico's coming down because the other 2 riders have ran out a little bit wide. There's been an opportunity there. He's not actually trying to make the move, really. He's just coming through. So for Uriarte, it's a big mistake on his part, really.
He left it vulnerable, and that has really cost him. That has really cost this title race. It's all done and dusted. Doesn't matter what Max Quiles does now. there is no number 51, as that pit board says. The 51 is out. Brian Uriarte is out. Quiles, if he doesn't finish, he's still champion. He's not going to want that. He's going to want to win it from the front. But he is now a double ETC champion. There's no other way about it.
Yeah, he's won the championship now, so he can focus on just trying to win this race. Strange that the team didn't have an out on the pit board there. Minus 51, so minus Uriarte. So for Max and his fans, they know what that means. ETC champion again this year. So super stuff from Quiles all the way through this campaign. He's got 0.7 of a second to make up on the race leader. He's got the number 1 of Guido Pini behind them. Pini trying to finish his season in a bit of style. It's interesting to look at the number 1 machine, because every time he gets onto the straight, you see him make a big movement to get himself up into the bubble. He's not smooth trying to get himself into the tuck position there, but he's fast, and he's been able to do a good job in this race to keep the other riders honest.
We've got a crasher in the background. Was it David Gonzalez who went down? Perhaps I saw marshals jumping over the fence at turn 6, so we'll try and pick that up in a minute, but it looked, it was Benyat Fernandez out of 7th place by the looks of it. So the number 7, he crashed at Aragon, and he's crashed again here. Not the end to the season he would have wanted. There he is. He started from 11th on the grid. Benyat Fernandez. That is game over for the Fando VHC Racing team rider. He'll be back again next year to try and do it all over again. Let's see what happened. Looks like he just lost the front, Steve.
Yeah, you'd imagine through there that's what happened as he gets into the entry to the corner. His teammates, of course, too, Perrone up there on the number 73 machine, giving himself a chance of a podium or even a race victory, because look at how much ground Rios has lost now, because Max Quiles knows this is about trying to pick up the race victory. Doesn't have to think about the championship now. He's just focused on the job at hand. And amazingly, within a lap and a half of Brian Uriarte out of the race, the title all secured, we see Max Quiles find an extra gear to move up to the front of the field.
Having said that though, Steve, I don't know if it's Rios coming back to them, because it was a 41.8 last time around. Everyone else 41 flat, 41.1. It was Rios who lost a lot of pace. I wonder if he made a mistake somewhere else on lap, because everyone else is with them. Let's see, but...
Well, the one thing about it as well is, though, you've had Quiles, Pini and Perrone all with their fastest laps of the race, and all of them, when they set their times, had set the fastest lap of the race in quick succession. So it's Perrone at the back of that leading group at 4, the number 73, that's got the fastest lap of the race. So they found their pace, because at the front of the field, Rios was only a couple of tenths of a second off his personal best. So maybe a little bit of a mistake, but the other guys have made a big step forward now as well.
And that's obviously emphasised as well, that it's now a group of 4. We've only lost 2 in the battle. It's Guillaume Plonk who has dropped off as well. So Plonk's pace is about 5th place at the minute, and that's where he is. Swapping paint here between, excuse me, between Rios and Pini. Quiles, though, out front again. Rios will be looking, this will be good for Rios. He'll be able to study Quiles now, where he's strong, where he's got pace, where he's a bit better, maybe where he's a bit weaker. On the curb there for Quiles, so not totally smooth. He doesn't need to be either. This is now literally, he may as well be at the start of his season, because that's the pressure situation.
Yeah, and for Quiles, it's all about giving yourself that opportunity to have won the European Talent Cup, and going into next season, it'll be all about trying to go better than he has been in the Rookies Cup next year, and trying to give himself that chance to progress, because he could easily be on the Moto3 World Championship grid in 2 years' time, just with a Red Bull Rookies Cup success and able to fast track his career a little bit. The age limits have worked against him. He's been stuck here in the ETC for 3 years when he's clearly had the talent to progress, but for him the future comes pretty quickly, and he'll certainly be a guy that everyone needs to keep an eye on. In the build up to this weekend, obviously you look at over recent years who are the riders that have really been able to stand out, and Quiles is the next to those guys.
Oh, he's getting pushed out at turn 5. That was Valentin Perrone who came through then and pushed Quiles out wide. We've seen it at turn 5. Quiles is vulnerable. He is leaving the door open, and Jesus Rios needed no second invitation either. So now, Argentinian rider Valentin Perrone is your race leader. As I say that, no, he isn't, because Jesus Rios has got other ideas. That's into turn 8. It gets the job done pretty smoothly. So, few fresh faces and new names to close off this 2023 season. Going into 2024, perhaps this is what we'll be seeing more of. Guido Pini keeping a watching brief in 3rd place, whilst Max Quiles still right there in 4th, chasing a 10th win in the class. He's only been in the class for 3 seasons, and he was champion in his first year. Quiles really is one of the massive stars of the future. Oh my dear me, no, surely not. Guido Pini carries such corner speed then through turn 12. I thought he was going to have it at turn 13, but not this time around. He has it at turn 14. Peeny moves through into second place, but he's so tall. Peeny is a romper. He's so lanky. He needs to bury himself under the paintwork of that AC Racing Team machine to try and make himself as aerodynamic as possible. 3 abreast into turn 1. Jesus Rios should have that sorted. On the brakes once more. Rios looking comfortable.
Yeah, 5 laps to go for these guys, and the gloves are off now. They've got such a big margin in hand over P5, so they really are able to focus on one another. And interesting to see Valentin Peroni able to do this as well. Big step forward in Aragon, and now able to give himself a real chance of being able to end the season as a race winner. Very impressive stuff from the first Argentinian, the only Argentinian we've seen in the European Talent Cup. So impressive stuff from him to finish off this campaign.
Never had an Argentinian winner, obviously, by virtue of that stat there. So Peroni looking very comfortable. Very comfortable. Had a big moment there at turn 6.
A little bit of a moment there for the 73, but you can see the 28 of Max Quiles, our champion this year. He's been dropped now. So is he able to get himself back up to the 3 race leaders?
Does he want to? Does he? He doesn't need to.
Oh, he wants it, Kiko. You can be sure he wants it. And for Quiles, it's now just a question of whether or not he's able to put himself into that position, or if he just wants to enjoy the end of this season, the end of this campaign, en route to clinching his second ETC title.
I mean, he is still hanging right there, and he's keeping his powder dry for now. That's all he needs to do if he still wants to be in that victory fight. It doesn't have to be absolutely wheel to wheel like these front 3 are. Rios, Peeny and Peroni absolutely nose to tail into the last corner. And Peeny through. Peeny did just feint to the inside there, but has he cost himself time? He's a big lad, is Peeny. He's going to be putting a massive hole in the air now for Rios to come on by. Crucially, Peeny got the move done at the last corner, and he led across the line. So make a note of that, ladies and gentlemen at home, just in case we have a run to the line on the last corner. Rios through on the inside, doesn't pull it down, and instead Peeny lets the brakes off. So Peeny very, very strong under braking. And actually, we saw this back at Aragon. Peroni into second, Rios back to 3rd place now, but it's Peeny, your race leader. Quiles back with them.
I like Peroni though. He's putting himself about. He's given himself an opportunity to lead this race. We saw him quite strong into 5 and 6 earlier on. We'll see if he's able to get a run through 5 to set up a move. He makes the move nice and early into 5. And is he able to hold on to that? Peeny's trying to run around the outside, so fair play to the number 1. But the 73 really does look pretty fast at this stage. He's giving himself the opportunities, but we still have 3.5 laps to go. So it is a situation where for these riders, are they showing all their cards? We know Peeny's had a lot of success in the past. We know obviously Max Quiles up there, double champion now, a lot of race victories. So we know what they can do. Maybe for the likes of the 73 Peroni, the likes of the 54 Rios, they're a little bit closer to their limit right now compared to the number 1 and the 28.
I quite like Peroni too. Other brands available. This is what happened there into turn 1. As you can see, Rios was ahead. Peeny just letting the brakes off.
Yeah, and for Peeny, we've been able to see it once again, just how strong he is on the brakes. He's able to get that bike stopped, hold his line, hit his apex, and get that position. It's not the easiest thing to do into turn 1. It's very easy to get sucked into there, run a little bit high onto the curb, and then leave yourself vulnerable for attack into turn 2. So for Peeny, he knows that he's able to give himself an opportunity to make the moves into turn 1. You see again there that big movement by him to try and get himself into the bubble.
Quiles into 3rd ahead of Jesus Rios. In the blink of an eye, it can all change, and it has. The 54 now back into 4th place. He was leading across the line almost a lap ago. This time it's Valentin Peroni who is leading down in towards turn 2. Peeny will be trying to look through if he can. Quiles, 2 for 1. Fantastic. That is why he's the champion-elect. That's why he's the champion and the championship leader for the entire season, more or less. So Quiles, fantastic then into turn 2.
Let's see how Quiles is though through turn 5, because that's where Peroni's been so strong, and again Peroni's just barges through. I love to see that from the 73. He's not given any inch to any of his rivals. He knows this is a chance of a race victory.
And Quiles knows it's a chance to sign off his 2023 campaign as winner and champion all in one race, and he's trying to do that right now, but he is vulnerable at turn 5, so it's going to be interesting to see if he changes his strategy there on the last lap. Through into 3rd place comes Guido Peeny. We are into the final 2.5 laps now, so coming out of turn 8 now, building through 9 and 10. Quiles leads Peroni, then it's Peeny and Rios behind him. Rios coming from way back, but not able to get ahead of Peeny. Peeny's so strong on the brakes once more, but it's Quiles who leads the charge to home with 2 laps to go. Oh, Rios and Pini, 2 into 1. Dear me, how did they keep it so clean through there? They're leaning on each other, and they've actually cost themselves so much time in doing so. So Pini and Rios, really, they're going to need a couple of Super Bowl laps now, you feel, to try and get back on terms with Perrone in second, and Quiles who leads. 2 laps to go as they come across the line. Quiles is going to try and pull the pin here.
Yeah, you can see for Quiles just trying to open up that bit of a margin now. 2 laps to go. He's got half a dozen bike lengths now at the front of the field. This is where Perrone needs to go with him, but it's such a massive step from Perrone. You think back to the last, Quiles, very wide there. That's going to give Perrone a little bit of an opportunity. But for a rider that up until this point in the season had 3 points-paying finishes, 14th and 2 15th places, to now be fighting now for the race victory with Max Quiles, what an impressive turn around the fortune storm. Again, just showing in the ETC, it's about taking your opportunities when they come to you. This is a great opportunity for him, and he's trying to grab it with both hands.
And he's still so young as well, as so many of them are in this class. Perrone is only 15. His best result, as you say, is 14th, Steve. This night and day.
He's inexperienced, but he is one of the older riders in the class as well. So for Perrone, it's about the amount of time he's been able to give himself on an ETC bike, the opportunity to be able to get to the front of the field so quickly in his ETC career. That's what's impressive, and it gives him something really to build on going into next year. But he's going to have an opportunity to go into the winter as a race winner in the ETC. Turn 5's his opportunity, but he's also strong on the brakes into the last corner as well, the long left-hander down the hill. So if he's in P2, where he is right now on the last lap, he's going to give himself a couple of opportunities to come through. Quiles, very strong on the brakes into turn 1. He's good through turn 4, but he's vulnerable in 5, and then he's good into the back straight as well. So we'll see if Quiles has maybe just been keeping his powder a little bit dry as well. But the 73, he's the guy to watch right now.
This is it then, this is the last lap if you're just joining us. Max Quiles is, by virtue of a crash with his teammate being Uriarte, Enrico Salmella, the champion, and he leads us onto the final 4 kilometres of this race. And if you're not sure who the 73 is in second, Valentin Perrone, yes, the rider who has not had a top 10 ever in the European Talent Cup, is now looking down the barrel potentially of a first win. That's not the case now though. Jesus Rios into second place. He was your poleman at the start of this race.
Perrone has to come through now quickly on Rios. He'll do that into turn 5, you'd imagine. That's where he's been so fast. That set up from this corner though to give him an opportunity, but the vulnerability of the race leader into 5 shown again.
Yeah, Quiles again, that's about the 5th time he's been past the turn 5, and it's about the 4th time it's been done by Rios. Rios comes through then and leads them out of turn 6 onto the back straight. Quiles second, Perrone third, Pini fourth. Barring massive incidents and drama, it's going to be one of these 4, but which one?
Quiles hits the front once again for the 54. Rios, he's coming on here on the back, 2 podiums last time out in Aragon. He wants to go and give himself 3 in a row with a race victory to finish this season, but Quiles just opening up a little bit of a margin now.
Quiles it is, who leads at turn 11. He has a bit of a moment, and through comes, through comes everyone. Is Quiles playing with them? Let's see down into turn 14. Rios leads then. No, he doesn't. Pini strikes back. Perrone's on the outside. We are now through 13, where Perrone has been so good on the brakes. 14, final corner shenanigans. Not this time around. Pini is running with the number 1 for the final time. He will sign off as number 1 in the race. Pini takes honours ahead of Perrone and Rios, but 4th place and your 2023 European Talent Cup champion for a 2nd time. Max Quiles delivers the goods in an epic race here in Valencia.
Yeah, Max made a mistake on that last lap, and that's what opened the door there, but he's been able to get across the line as an ETC champion once again. Double ETC winner, and able to finish the season in style. We'll hear from him down in Parc Ferme as well. But for Guido Pini to able to finish this season, his last race with that number 1 plate, and he's able to do it with a really impressive race victory. But Perrone able to get himself that podium as well. And for Jesus Rios to finish the season, 3 podiums in a row. Again, very good stuff from him.
Very good stuff indeed. Pini's race-winning move, we're going to see it in a moment, I'm sure, on replay. What about that on the exit of 12 and over the outside in 13? Max Quiles, though, champion again. 2 championships in 3 seasons. He was champion in his rookie season back in 21. There's David Alonso, the Colombian rider, in the Moto3 World Championship. He's there with the team this weekend. That looks like Joel Esteban there as well. The team's Moto3 Junior GP rider. The fireworks are going off track as well as on it. Fantastic stuff then from Max Quiles, who has once again gone to the max and taken honours in a breathtaking European Talent Cup race. Maximo Quiles, your 2023 European Talent Cup champion. Your race winner though, Guido Pini. Pini has been sensational. He's been unfortunate at times. He tried his hardest in Aragon to stay in contention for as long as possible, but in the end it wasn't doable, and he will not be with that #1 for next season. However, he signs off with that #1 as a race winner. The Max Quiles fan club, delighted trackside. It's the second time they get to see scenes like this, and what a touching tribute as well. The 44, obviously in reference to Hugo Mian, who we sadly lost a couple of years ago. Meanwhile, this is the best moments of Max Quiles to the max in 2023. The number 28 is #1. Amazing scenes then as Max Quiles makes his way back. As I was saying, that's a lovely tribute. We saw it at Aragon actually with Max Quiles, a tribute to the late great Hugo Mian, who we sadly lost 2 years ago at Aragon. They were great friends, and Quiles with a very touching tribute there to the number 44. But this is about him as well. He is the first rider to become a double champion in this category. Max Quiles has been not quite head and shoulders above everyone, but he has been one of the stars in the last 3 years. This is the only rider who's been able to deny him a third title. Last year, Guido Pini came through to take honours against Joel Esteban in the final race of the year here in Valencia, and once again the title going to the last race of the year. It wasn't the classic showdown in the end. Quiles, all he needed to do was finish in the top 9 anyway and take 7 points. However, for his main title rival, Brian Uriarte, crashed with his teammate, Rico Salmela. This is a massive podium. Valentin Perone, the Argentinian, yes, he was born in Barcelona in Spain, but takes Argentinian nationality. He is the first Argentinian rider to take a podium in the European Talent Cup class, and that is a landmark achievement for one of South America's brightest stars in the future. Jesus Rios, slightly dejected there down in Parc Ferme. He would have thought that him and the MRE talent team may have been able to take advantage of that pole position and sign off 2023 with a victory. It wasn't to be. It was going to be, in the end, Guido Pini. He just wanted it maybe that little bit more. He was so determined on the exit of turn 12 and on the change of direction from right to left, turn 12 to 13. This is who it's all about though. Max Quiles, a stunning ride, a stunning rider more than anything. Quiles has been one of the brightest stars to come out of this paddock, and likewise to remain in this paddock. He's had 2 wins, 6 podiums and 1 pole position in the Red Bull Rookies Cup. And this year in ETC, 5 wins, 7 podiums, 3 poles, 3 fastest laps. Combine that with 3 wins, 5 podiums and a pole from 2021, his other title winning year. He was a race winner in 2022 as well, both in the Red Bull Rookies Cup and in the European Talent Cup. Everything he touches seems to turn to gold. And Quiles, well, a huge future ahead of him. The 15-year-old, born on the 14th of March 2008 in Murcia, Spain. One of the real stars of the future. just listening in there. Not that I'm very good at Spanish translation. This was one of the this was the moment. Brian Uriarte and Rico Salmela, friendly fire ending in the gravel between the two Team Estrella Galicia teammates, and once again Rico Salmela just coming up short. Uriarte, on the other hand, not able to take the title fight to this rider, Max Quiles, the number 28. A fantastic ride from him. In the end, it didn't matter if he finished on the podium, he finished first, or if he didn't finish at all. Meanwhile, Guido Pini, your last race winner in 2023.
Guido, your last race with the number 1 plate, but you finish it in style. A great race victory to end off the season.
Yeah, thank you so much. This race, it's unbelievable because it's my race with my team, Achi Racing. So the target was win the race, and we did it. So I'm so really happy for me and for all the team. And nothing this weekend was a little bit crazy because we did only free practice and after qualifying for the weather condition, but I'm really happy.
And some words in Italian?
È stata una gara veramente molto faticosa. È caduto a un certo punto Brian e Enrico, però l'obiettivo era vincere la gara, quindi devo ringraziare tutto il team perché sono stati sempre al mio fianco e mi hanno aiutato a arrivare dove sono adesso. Grazie C.
Well done, Guido.
Guido Pini then a few words there with the last race with the team. So a fitting end for AC Racing. We're going to hear from Max Quiles in a very short moment. Steve down there waiting to get the first word from the first rider in European Talent Cup history to take 2 titles, and he's done it in just 3 seasons. So fantastic stuff. It's almost fitting that the likes of Quiles and Pini are the last 2 that we hear from in 2023. Let's hear from your champion.
Max, a second ETC title, and it's been an incredible year.
Yeah. It's my second championship. I'm very happy. It was a very difficult season, and yeah, I'm really happy. I'm a bit disappointed about not winning because I confused a bit and I thought it wasn't the last lap, so I went a bit wide by accident. And yeah, I'm a bit angry as well, but I'm very happy with the championship. And yeah, it's crazy. It's the second one, so I'm really happy.
And some words in Spanish?
Sí, bueno, ha sido una temporada muy difícil, la verdad, porque era ya el tercer año de muchos pilotos y había mucho nivel. Pero bueno, sí hemos podido conseguir el título, mi segundo título, así que estoy súper contento y quiero agradecer a todos y a todo el equipo, a Aspar, y gracias por este año.
Congratulations, Max.
Thank you.
The final race of the 2023 European Talent Cup season blasted off into life. Jesus Rios going from a career first pole, but it was designate champion Max Quiles who led down in towards turn 1. That was pretty much the pattern of the entire race. His teammate Dodo Boggio was right there until he wasn't when he crashed at turn 10. Boggio's season ended in a gravel trap, not the year he would have been hoping for at all. However, back in the race itself, and Brian Uriarte was fighting his way through, as well as his teammate too, Rico Salmela, the number 27, getting to the front and originally aiming to help his teammate if necessary for the title. Quiles, no support for him. He was out on his own in terms of the Aspar Junior team, ahead of Jesus Rios, but Quiles very vulnerable at turn 5. Door constantly open and a couple of riders taking him there as well. Emmanuel Brinton at the top shot, retiring out of the race, not the end of the year that the number 43 would have imagined, but he'll be back again next year to try and do it all over again. Jesus Rios hit the front and started to pull away a little bit, whilst Quiles, well, he's just getting his elbows out like he's done all year. Elbows out though in a different way. Uriarte and Salmela collided. Uriarte, I think the hand gestures say it all. We can't repeat what he was perhaps saying to his Team Australia Galicia colleague, but in the end I think it was a bit of 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. Now that there was no elephant on the ice, it was all safe and sound for Max Quiles. He could do battle freely as if it was the start of his 2023 campaign. Him, Jesus Rios, Likewise, Valentin Baroni, the Argentinian star, and Guido Pini, the outgoing European Talent Cup champion, trading paint all the way until the last lap. Rios looked like he had it at turn 12, but it was Pini with this breathtaking move that saw him come through to lead. Baroni took second, Pini signed off for the #1 in style, but it was Max Quiles, the 15-year-old from Murcia in Spain, who took a second title in the European Talent Cup class, the first rider ever to do so. Celebrations all round. Pini in his last race for the AC Racing team, likewise signing off in style.
La tercera plaza de Jesús Ríos.
So now back live scenes here, the podium. Third place for Jesus Rios, it's his third podium in 3 races. Second for Valentin Baroni. And I think that was Guido Pini's sunglasses who just checked out over the other side of the podium there. A lovely T-shirt there in his last race for AC Racing. He moves on to new challenges and a new team for next year. And the AC Racing team taking the team's trophy as well. Jesus Rios from pole position, as I say, a third podium in as many races. So Rios, a real star at the end of this season. That will be one thing to watch going into 2024. Second place and the first Argentinian podium to Valentin Baroni. However, in the winners' box on top of the world, at least for the moment, it is Guido Pini. We're checking in now with the Italian national anthem.
Aplauso para los 4 premiados y el momento.
Now we've listened to everybody's favourite national anthem, the Italian national anthem played out then. Guido Pini, the final race winner in 2023. Pini moving on to, as I say, pastures new for next year as he chases team manager off the podium. Valentin Baroni also enjoying a first podium, and they have to work perhaps maybe on the celebrations. Guido Pini, the race winner, that's his third win in the class. It is his 12th podium. So your outgoing champion from last year signing off on a high with his team and the #1 plate in 2023. And there'll be plenty more where that came from, wherever he ends up for 24.
But you can see how difficult the conditions are as well. The Prosecco bottle on the right-hand side of the podium just getting moved everywhere. It is windy down there in Parc Ferme. I was surprised by how much windier it was compared to even just earlier on for the Junior GP race. So a real challenge for these riders, and the experience shone through at the end with Guido able to take that race victory on the last lap.
We'll have to hope, Steve, that the Prosecco DOC bottle doesn't fall over, because it would be a shame to waste such a brilliant alcohol. Can always bring it up into the commentary box. So, race 11, out of 11, Valencia, done and dusted, 2023, done and dusted. Guido Pini, a race winner for the final time with AC Racing. Valentin Baroni for Argentina, the first Argentinian on the podium. Jesus Rios, perhaps dejected with what could have been a fine victory. Stories in fourth, Max Quiles takes the title as Brignoriati's title challenge crashes to a halt. Whilst all the way down the order, we've got names, big name, Pau Alsina coming right the way through the field. Likewise, Gonzalo Perez. Those two signing off 2023 with points at least. All the way down, Christian Daniel, the American, not quite able to see the checkered flag. Emmanuel Brinton, the British star, amongst that as well. He retired in the early part of the race. But they'll be back next year to try and prove their worth. The big names that didn't finish there, you can see Brignoriati and teammate Rico Salmella. There it is in black and white. The championship standings. Max Quiles champion by 20 points. In the end, it's from Guido Pini, who is runner-up. The defending champion taken second in 2023. Uriarte relegated to third ahead of teammate Sal Mella. There'll be words in that box, I'm sure. Dodo Boggio fifth. Jesus Rios climbs to sixth ahead of David Gonzalez, Jesus Torres and Guillaume Plonk with his best season of European Talent Cup action. Ruche Moodley completes the top 10, but he'll be back out later in Junior GP. Queso Gorman likewise. Some of these riders already moving up in the middle of the season for new challenges. Right the way through, Malaysian star Hakim Danish, Leonardo Zani, Valentin Peroni, 20 big fat championship points in one race from just 4 points earlier on in the season. A remarkable transition from barely a point scorer to a race-winning contender. Fantastic stuff from him. Right the way through the field is big names, both in terms of fame and in terms of actual written length. Vasilis Panteliakis, one of them, the Greek rider, with 2 points in what has also been a bit of a breakthrough season from him. Perhaps the 2 points not representing the progress he's made. Maximo Quiles, the second time that he has enjoyed these kind of emotions. He makes history to become the first rider to take 2 titles in the European Talent Cup. And his talent level will see these scenes be replayed for years to come and recreated in whatever class he ends up in. He's already a race winner and championship contender in the Red Bull Rookies. Max Quiles may be one of the biggest and brightest prospects to come through the Junior GP paddock for some time. The 2023 European Talent Cup is done and dusted. Max Quiles is #1 once more.